Okay, CC students, we're going to talk about what is a mock trial. Well, before you can talk about what is a mock trial, you have to talk about what is a trial. And a trial is where two individuals have a disagreement and they bring their disagreement to a court. And they ask for the court to help them resolve the disagreement. Both sides have a version of the events that occurred. They believe that they're right. And they want the court to help them resolve their differences. And the court can either be a judge, we call that a bench trial, or a jury, and we call that a jury trial. And a jury is made up of people and the citizens in their community. So two individuals bring their differences to a court and ask for the court to resolve their disagreement. That's a trial. Well, a mock trial is a pretend version of this disagreement based on some fact scenario that you've been given in your packet with set evidence, set witnesses. You don't have any control over the case. It's been scripted out for you to try a case just like lawyers do. And it's the closest thing to actually trying a case without going to law school. That's a mock trial. Well, there are two types of cases in our court system, and we divide them into a civil case or a criminal case. And a criminal case is where there's a law that's been passed, and the government brings a allegation against a private citizen saying they broke this law. An example of laws that in the criminal justice world are murder. We have laws that say that the intentional killing of another human being with malice is murder. That drinking and driving is a crime. Those are all crimes, laws that have been passed by the government. And when someone violates those laws, the government brings the case against the person saying that they broke the law. Well, on the civil side, a civil case is where two individuals have a disagreement and they have two versions, but the government's not involved in this case. It's just one citizen and another citizen bringing their cases against each other to the court for a resolution. And in the civil case, the person bringing the case against the other person is saying, this person did something to me or failed to do something that they were supposed to do. Let me explain that. In a civil case where someone is injured in a car accident and the other driver intentionally rams their car into the other driver, that person that's been injured could say, he intended to hurt me and cause me injury. Now let's say in another example is a person's driving down the road and a car crashes into them and they're injured. But this time the other driver didn't intend to cause the accident. They were texting, they were distracted. They failed to do something. So remember, civil cases, you either did something or you failed to do something. But the big difference between a criminal case and a civil case is that in the criminal case, the government's bringing the allegation that you broke a law, and in the civil case, we're arguing you broke some norm of society. Sometimes it's a law or a statute, but in most cases, we're saying that you broke some standard. You violated some rule. And this case, we're alleging that it's not a criminal law that you violated. This is some other rule or law that you violated. But in the civil case, it is a citizen bringing a case against another citizen. That's the big difference. Criminal government's bringing against a citizen, civil two citizens against each other. So in our mock trial, just like in a real trial, we use attorneys and witnesses. And your role could be in the mock trial, you could play the role of an attorney or you could play the role of a witness. But just like in a real trial, we use attorneys and witnesses. Now, this is a learning process, but it's also a lot of fun. But it's a learning process. And part of the learning process is for you to begin to evaluate legal issues. It's probably the first time in your academic career that you're being exposed to these types of higher level of thinking, and you're going to begin to think like a lawyer does. And it's exciting, and it's a puzzle, and it's a roadmap, and this is hard work, but it's not something that you can't do, and you're going to really enjoy it. So this is a learning process. You evaluate legal issues. Now, you already have the skills that you need to do this. There's some skills that you need. Number one, research. What do we mean by research? Well, you're going to take your mock trial packet, and if you haven't read it yet, you should read through the mock trial packet, and you're going to begin to sort through the case. You're going to begin to read the case and follow your assignments, sort through the case, and learn about the mock trial case. That's your research. Learn about the individuals in the case, the characters in the case, the rules. Do your research. Sort through the case. Next is grammar. You're going to begin to memorize the rules, the witness statements, and make a timeline. That's all part of your grammar. So you're going to, and we'll go over that in other videos about rules. There's rules of the mock trial, but there's also rules of court and rules of evidence that we're going to learn that you're going to need to memorize. And this is a condensed version. Everything that you need to know is in your packet. That's the beautiful part of this. You don't have to learn how to do legal research on top of all this. Everything's in your packet. You're going to learn the statements of the witnesses, and we're going to make a timeline. Timeline is important because the better you know the facts of this case and how it fits in, better you tell the story, and the better you'll be as either your role of an attorney or as a witness. So that's our grammar. Well, a mock trial is also a drama. You're going to play the role of a character. Whether you're playing the role of an attorney or a witness, you're playing the role of a character, and you're going to breathe life into that character. So if you're going to play the role of a police officer in your mock trial, you need to pretend that you're the police officer. You need to answer the questions like you were that police officer in that case. You're no longer the student, you're now an actual police officer who was involved in this case. If you're the defendant who's being charged with a crime, your life is on the line. And you need to explain why you did. If you're going to testify, if you did murder the person, why you murdered them. Maybe it was in self-defense. If you didn't murder them, you need to have an explanation of why you're being accused of murder, what happened. So you're going to breathe life into the camera and to the character. Rhetoric and speech. We are going to use your rhetoric and speech skills for persuasive writing and persuasive speech. If you're doing an opening statement or a closing argument, you're trying to persuade people into believing a certain thing. If you're asking witnesses, you're using speech skills to question a witness. We're going to go all over all of this in other videos. We're also going to use debate skills. Debate is based on reasoning and speaking skills. You want to present your case in the most logically organized way possible, using these skills that you have created, that you've developed through the course of your career. So you're going to use reasoning and speaking skills. The good thing is that you don't have to do this in a vacuum by yourself. You're going to work with your classmates. I'm going to help you, and we're going to move through the mock trial process. But the first step is to understand what is a trial, criminal or civil case, what is a mock trial. Basically, it's a reenactment or a play of a trial. And what are the skills that we're going to need to do a mock trial? That's it. I look forward to seeing you again, and good luck.